will stand with those individuals that's inside that facility and the facilities across the state to let them know that we understand that they have these conditions and they need their resources on the outside. We're going to be a voice for them as we continue to do. Let us now hear from one of the members of the Justice for Robert Brooks Coalition, Brittany Smith.
Was Messiah saving more lives and changing them? After surviving over 20 shots, I just knew God had a bigger plan for him. And maybe in this unforeseen way, he still does. I was playing for Cardinal Hayes, undefeated that year. Messiah was a comedian. Even when he wasn't trying, he could make you laugh with him or at him. Messiah was failed. New York City failed him. NYPD, you targeted him. You shot him over 20 times. You smeared his name. You twisted the facts of that night. You deflected all accountability. New York State failed him. I was under the impression that New York State does not exercise death penalties. When did correctional officers become judges and executioners? I had to stay quiet after the shooting. I had to remain silent during his healing. As his PTSD worsens and I watched my baby drift away, further and further away from me, Messiah was no longer there. After his devastating actions, to his families, my deepest condolences to the families of his victims.
That's right. This is the second time that she has to recuse herself because she represents those officers.
That's right.
But we need some good, strong legislation
so
that can be prevented.
That's right.
We also need to make sure that those individuals that was witnesses be protected, because there's some retaliation that's happening inside these facilities because different incarcerated individuals speak up because they saw something and they said something.
That's right.
We understand that there's maybe some video. Well, whatever video, whether it's a little bit or a lot, we need to see the video.
That's right.
We don't believe just words of mouth. In Minnesota, stringing justice for George Floyd, they killed young Dante Wright.
That's right.
Right in Minnesota.
That's right.
They letting us know loud and clear that they don't care.
That's right.
In the midst of them striking for quote unquote of saying that they need some type of medical care, they need some type of help inside these facilities. But guess what? These incarcerated individuals needed help. Brittany Smith from wrongfully convicted, families of the wrongfully convicted. I'm also joined by Jose Salada from RAP and community leaders who has been on the forefront on dealing with this issue just a couple of months ago with Robert Brooks. So you have community now cages.
Mr. Adams, where are you?
What about that?
Miss Hopeful, where are you?
Do you have a sense on what was going on in the prison?
I don't know.
In the last few months?
I don't know. Unfortunately, I lost contact for various reasons. I was pushed away. Messiah's story. Messiah had heroes. Messiah tried. Messiah had many people behind him. And unfortunately, he had a parent that pushed all of us away.
What would you say if you knew that there were similar incidents right before?
What else can I say? We're human. We all know what we want to say to this. Enough.
I was just sitting on the side thinking, when is enough enough? I immediately went to Mid-state 2 days after they murdered Messiah, and just to have a chat with the incarcerated individuals who resided in the dorm that Messiah was murdered in. Needless to say that the morale was fearful, very low, and untrusting.
Messiah!
Justice for 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 Messiah!
Into a death sentence.
That's right.
Robert Brooks' sentence and countless others should not. I served 27 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit. I know what it's like to be handcuffed, taken out of one area into another isolated area, and be beaten by prison guards who don't look like me solely because I'm black. This has to stop. Thank you. One of the prison guards was indicted for killing Brooks. Attorney General, as he just stated earlier, has told us once again that she has to excuse herself from prosecuting because he represented some of them who was accused of other incarcerated people for assaulting them. This has to stop. Despite these prison guards being accused for assaulting other incarcerated people, cops continue to allow them to work at their post.
In all actuality, what do legislation do? When we had on books for decades to tell a law which prevents you from illegally striking. And in fact, this law specifies that if you strike, you're in fact breaking the law. Now, if we return to morale, how will those incarcerated individuals feel knowing that these individuals who get to break the law now get an opportunity to return to work and correct their behavior? When they took an oath to protect and in some instances correct the behavior of all incarcerated individuals. In my office, we have over 3,000 letters of abuse from mostly all prisons in which I've toured and visited. It's horrifying, scary, and disappointing that as a New York State legislature, I feel like I'm freaking powerless to stop this nonsense. Messiah Nantwi released the footage of me fighting in Marcy 3 weeks after they murdered Robert Brooks. I aggressively addressed the lady sergeant who systematically six the hit squad on incarcerated individuals. So her and I had words, and Messiah Nantwi, in an attempt to, I guess, discredit me, released the video. Well shit, there's about 38 other body cams they can release at me in other facilities fighting other officers. Because it's a problem. And what's killing me as a petition is that Messiah's body, as we speak, lies in a funeral home in Utica, New York. Because the parents, for whatever reason, and I'm not here to discuss that, cannot bring Messiah home. And in addition, when I'm hearing from the Attorney General's office, as she called and let me know that she had to recuse herself, once again, that footage may be missing. That we may not have footage And I am skeptical about bringing Messiah home. And so for the last 2 days, I've been thinking, what can I do other than yell and scream and call press conferences? So I'm going to use this great state to help me out. I've introduced legislation, and I'm looking for a Senate sponsor that simply says that the state must pay for the transportation and the release of the incarcerated individuals while they were killed in New York State prisons to their families.
That's a good piece of legislation. It's a great piece of legislation. Great piece. Great
I've
piece.
also introduced legislation just this morning that